momentum. The discussions that you guys had in JavaOpolis, and invite you guys here to JavaOne, to talk. So we have Stefan Jansen from the Belgian JUG, and also is the founder of JavaOpolis. We have Michael Huderman, who is a Java champion and a JUG leader from Cologne, Cologne, Germany. And he's also a newly elected community leader for the JUG community on Java.net. Okay, so when you come to the JUG Leader mailing list, when you come to the JUG community and you have issues, okay, we have Michael Huderman, we have Leonardo Galvo, and we have Fabrizio Gianeschi, who could not be here this year, but I did get a chance to talk to him last year. He won a Duke Award, and he was, part of the Java champions. And then we have Paris Apostopoulos from the Hellenic JUG in Athens, Greece. So, what do we want to talk about the Java user groups? And we'll start with Stefan.
So, just before we start, actually, we want to more or less give a symbolic gift to Aaron, who has been helping us, on the Java user group mailing list, but also on the champion list. So, before, it's only a bag and a t-shirt and whatever, but it's more or less from several jugs and so together to actually thank you for
Now, are these the same bags you're going to get shipped to? Great, thanks.
Getting a draft of beer was way too heavy, so...
Great. Thank you. And I want to thank a lot of the folks that I've been in the Java.net community corner. They've been bringing me gifts and stuff. So I guess I can do that. But thank you.
So it's appreciated. So the agenda, I feel.
Yeah. All right. So we only have 40 minutes, and we thought that it should have been a bit of an informal session, no slides and stuff. So we want to, to talk about problems mainly. So our agenda for tonight would be 10 minutes. You would have to go to the microphone and introduce yourself. Or pass the mic, it might be better. So
yeah,
if you can use that mic. We just want to know how many jugs are here. So please be quick. We have only 10 minutes for this one.
I'll do the microphone running.
Another 10 minutes, SAN representatives will have their time to, to have their points. And the rest, 20 minutes, you will all have the chance of asking questions either to the JUG Leaders community or to the SAN representatives, in order to resolve issues and problems like those we've chatted a bit before. And so, that's the agenda for today. Just try to be quick, and the community leader here will be resolving any conflicts in time.
Okay, so first off, we'll start with Toto. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Toto from the Norwegian Java user group, JavaOne. I won't say more.
Okay.
I'm Paul Weber from the San Diego Java Users Group.
Hi, I'm Manfred from the Vancouver Island Java User Group in British Columbia, BC.
Whoa, you get it.
Well, Klaas-Jan took it from the NLJUG, but I passed the mic on directly to Bert Edman.
Bert Edman also from the NLJUG.
So Bert, I'm going to ask you to stand up, because I want you all to see this guy, because he's going to be submitted for a champion at some point, so we need a Klaas-Jan, you need to do some homework. Even though Ian is not a JUG leader, he does go to the Toronto JUG meetings, so I just wanted to direct you.
In fact, I'm doing a repeat of my speech from this afternoon at the Toronto JUG meeting for all the people who couldn't make it down here.
Yeah, that's very cool. Dick Wall, I know that you've joined the Silicon Valley Java user group, and where's the... Oh, okay.
Tom Valletta from the Utah Java Users Group.
Thank you. And Roman?
Yeah, I represent St. Petersburg, Russia Java group here, and our leader is not here, unfortunately, so I'm kind of instead of him here.
So the JUG leader for St. Peter, JUG RU is Yakov Sorokin?
Right.
Okay. You all know him.
On his behalf.
Okay, very good.
David Bach from the Northern Virginia Java Users Group. I've been involved in that group one way or another since 1996.
Well, I'm Daniel de Oliveira, and JUG Leader from JUG in Brazil.
Dario Laverdi from the New York City Java Studies Group, SIG, the other SIG, the other one is Frank Beckles.
And we're going to get to Frank right now.
I'm Frank Greco from the New York Java SIG. We were the very first Java user group with now 5,000 members.
Frank, I will add also that Frank is also a member of Software Developer Advisory Council that Sun runs. Peter.
My name is Peter Pilgrim. I am the organizer of the London-based Java Web Users Group. Thank you.
I'm Suyol Yang. It's a Korean Java user group. Our community is named JCO. It's organizes many jobs. It's 16 jobs. It's combined. It's JCO. So it's a very big community in Korea. And
how many developers?
It's 700,000 people is in Korea. It's a Java user group include this JCO. And JCO is a very many communities like some performance tuning user group and some offline study groups and some many characters is community.
So the JUG, you can find it on the web. It's the Java Community Organization, jco.org in Korea. And I believe they have like 7,000, 8,000 developers. And we go there with tech days every other year, Sang Shin, In Young Cho, our evangelists go visit them. So, any other jokes?
John Neary, Greenville, South Carolina Java Users Group.
I'm Julian Dianquin from Córdoba Java User Groups in Argentina.
Mauricio Martinez, Miami Java User Group.
And even though Roman is a Sun employee, he's a co-JUG leader.
Yeah, I'm co-founder of Czech Java User Group in Prague and a Sun employee.
And the NetBeans guy.
Yeah, you can beat me up.
John Batchelor, Portland Java User Group, 11 years old, 498 members.
Thank you, Jim.
I'm Michael Van Riper from the Silicon Valley Web Developer JUG. We actually have two JUGs in Silicon Valley. Venki couldn't be here, he leads the other JUG, and my partner in crime is going to introduce himself in a minute.
Hi, Jorge Vargas, JavaOne Mexico.
Christophe Jolivet from French Virtual Java User Group.
I'm Felipe Gaúcho. I'm from JUG, 1,000 developers on a tropical beach. Just that.
So CE JUG Fortaleza?
Sorry? From a beach in Brazil.
A beach?
Yeah.
Beach in
Yeah.
Java.
Oh, yeah.
TV star.
Thibaut Renier, France, from the physical Java user group.
Physical, wow.
Yes, I'm Kevin Nelson with the Silicon Valley Web Developer Java User Group, working with BAN.
Any more JUG leaders?
More than I have met.
Craig Doremus from the main Java Users Group, and sorry, I forgot to bring the lobsters.
Make sure you come and visit me in Java. Lobsters.
Aaron, you stay away from the lobsters.
Hi, I'm Marco Villalobos, and I'm also an I'm sorry, wrong meeting. From Los Angeles.
Oh, there's my Los Angeles.
Right. I also want to say that I gave a lot of help from Matt behind here. He works for Sun. I'm Juan Carlos from Chile, Java User Group.
Chile.
France.
My name is Franz Tamura. I am from Indonesia. Okay, this is enough.
The real Java man.
Hello, I'm Simo Borgen from Helsinki, Finland, Java City.
Over here. Pass the torch over there.
I'm Rob Phipps from the Rochester Java User Group, Rochester, New York.
Sure. So don't run away, right? So at least we can put a name to a face on the picture.
Yeah, I would very much appreciate that too. Oh, where's Center? It was a very, very good tech day, and we want to thank the Java User Group for helping us get registrants.
So who are you and where are you from?
So my name is Burr Sutter. I'm the Atlanta Java User Group leader. And like you said, the Tech Days event we had in Atlanta was phenomenal. Great turnout, large crowd, very excited crowd. So thank you very much for bringing that out to Atlanta.
Still think you should have a southern accent though.
Yeah.
And Burr is also a Java champion. So now, we got about a couple minutes for Matt, since...
I'm not gonna...
Yes, you are. Yeah, you gotta talk. He knows giving me a mic is like not a good thing to do. So
I'll never get it back.
Yeah, that's Stefan knows. So my name's, I think I know most of you, but my name's Matt Thompson. I run the developer program for Sun, along with Aaron and Nicole. You know, the JUG program, along with the Java Champions programs, are two of the programs that we think are most important. Actually, I just spent part of the last couple hours talking to both Rich Green and Bob Bruin about how important these programs are. And it's amazing how much, you know, with your pictures, with the champions and jugs, the pictures up on the video screen that you guys have seen, and kind of the constant refinement of this, how much acknowledgement is now coming down. As a matter of fact, one of the questions that Bob asked me, so what could we do for the jugs that would, you know, they'd appreciate? And I said, really? You know, what kind of check number, how many zeros can I put on that? And he said, no. What can we do for free? And I'm like, okay, well, we'll talk. So what this is really supposed to be about is just give us an opportunity to kind of get to know each other and hear kind of things going on. We've got 3 esteemed panelists, each representing kind of a different phase of JUG development. And I think, you know, that I'm going to point to my friend from Greece as an example of how even in just a few months, going back to last fall, how, you know, kind of working together, we can, you know, we can't solve world hunger, but we can make things a little bit better, right? And so that's what we're really after. We want to make all of you as successful as you want to be in building your local communities. I don't want to tell you how to do it. I don't want to tell you what you should do. All I want to be is kind of a reference point for you when you guys want help. And that's what Aaron's job is. So Aaron's the guy you need to know. All I do is write checks. And not with a lot of zeros. So.
Okay. So the idea is now really just to do Q&A more or less. If you have problems with your, you know, Java user group or whatever, please. We have quite some knowledge here. We represent quite some big community here. So let's, you know, get some interaction going.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be to us, you know. So.
And actually, if I could add one thing, so we did this at Java Polis, and it started a little slow, but I was stunned by the end how much knowledge had been shared and how many connections were made kind of in the room. So, you know, from the most mundane to, you know, whatever challenge you'd like to either hand your peers or hand Sun, I'd really like to hear what's kind of going on.
Okay. People are asking about problems, but I will not lose this opportunity. It's a very hard occasion in my life. I met so many JUG leaders and so many guys from the management of Sun. I guess the feeling is thanks. It's not problems. Problems, we have the mailing list, you know. But you are all, congratulations for you. You are the heroes. And thank you very much for Sun and for you. Okay.
All right, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I have maybe a simple question. I'm first time here at JavaOne, and I've seen like a lot of cool presentation, lots of interesting technology, and like back there in St. Petersburg, where our JUG is, like there's hundreds of people who I understand are interested to know about that technology, to listen. So for that, many of those presentations are interesting. So what should I do when I come back? Should I, take slides and make the presentation myself on my JUG? Should I, try to bring some of the speakers there? Like, what would you recommend me to do?
Okay, so two things. And one, I'm gonna do a pitch for Stefan, and I'm hoping he's gonna piggyback later. We can kind of talk offline about how we could get some of the speakers to come to your thing. We've got, as you know, we've got an engineering center in St. Petersburg, which really helps a lot. Now, the other thing I would say is even beyond JavaOne, there is a resource out there that's really good. It's something that Stefan's built called Parlays. So at first he had to sell me on it because I was like, why are you doing this? And now I kind of get it. So why don't you just talk a little bit short about the kind of resource and how they can use it.
Where you go to JavaPolis and you get a link. And the idea is really, the idea behind it is that we want to have all the talks from JavaPolis online for free, no login, whatever, so people can re-experience the talk. So, I mean, we already have a really low entrance fee, but I know there's a lot of people out there who can't even, reach Belgium, or even the entrance fee is even too high. So by having those talks virtually available, and you have like the video of the speaker with sync slides, hopefully, I mean, that will help you to get some knowledge. We've released it last year in December, and we've been hammered with people. We have already like 40,000 different people viewing the talks. So that could be a beginning. And the nice thing is that there are other organizations who are starting to donate talks. So you will see other talks, technical talks, that you could actually get a lot of e-learning from. So hopefully that will help.
So what about JavaOne? Are there any plans to be videotaped, for example, JavaOne?
So those talks, all the talks, the popular talks, will be on the SDN website. Okay. And I'd like to say it was as nice as Stefan's presentation. You can decide yourself. Parlays has done very well, actually. So we're working on making sure these presentations are presented in a nice way. And then I would also recommend, because again, where you are, and this is open to all of you, you want some speakers. Aaron's the guy. And for those of you that have JUGs near some of our engineering centers, this gets a lot easier.
I want to add something, because we are currently on JavaOne and we still have 2 days. And someone talked about blogging and stuff like that, and I'll tell you what I'm doing, and I know some others are doing all these days. Before I go to sleep, I just blog, I post to my community's forum. I do a podcast, a short one, in Greek, so my community knows what's going on. So that's a minimum amount of information that you can give to your community right now. It's good to make it feel live. Afterwards, you will get probably you'll get all the material you want.
That's what I also do. I also blog, but the problem is I can't. I just I wrote a short summary of what interesting things I heard. I cannot give any links to they're not yet on. So if I blog, I will only do 2 records in my blog. I blog once a day. But I cannot link to things.
Yeah, but that's the notion of blogging anyway.
Yeah, but it's better when you blog and you give people a link, like here, if you're interested, here you go.
I think that's not an issue. It's not a problem for the time being. The material will be handed out as they are being handed out every year at a certain point.
So and the one thing, the commitment that we'll make is to at least the JUG Leaders alias and the forum. The moment that stuff comes out, we'll have Aaron announce it with the links to it and everything. So you guys don't have to go hunt for it.
Okay, thanks.
Kind of switching gears, is, we were talking about how infrastructural getting a job and getting information. I'm kind of thinking more a larger community aspect of it here. And I'm relatively new to the JUGs community, but my JUG's been going since 2003. But I guess the thing that I'm wondering, I could take a quick poll of all the JUGs here. How many of you actually have your JUG listed on java.net, at least on the JUGs community wiki? I mean, well, that's good. But I heard a few that I didn't know about, and I don't know, maybe they're there, I just missed them. But like, I'm the person who put the LinkedIn group together. I got the spreadsheets from different people. I have a list of 80 total JUG leaders for the entire world. Actually, that's the list we have, 80. And I know there's more than 80 JUG leaders in the world.
Yeah, actually, you could continue your question on how many of the JUG leaders are posting and they are active on this list. Because this list is, let's say, the notion of our community. We are a virtual community, but this list is all we got. So yeah, I would ask, how many of you participate in this community?
Every day, every day.
Yeah, so that's partially one of the answers. You know, you see so many JUGs, but you don't know. You know, not all the JUG leaders participate, and that's bad.
Well, I guess one of the things I just wanted to throw out was that as JUG leaders, I think we need to be active in finding out about like Chris Maki. I don't know if he's here, but I just wanted to give him a big pat on the back because I was with him in the JavaOne booth and. He would say, "Oh, I think I know another JUG leader that's in, he didn't know the area that well." So he said,
Chris
"Oh,
Mackey is from what JUG?
Utah."
Okay. Tell everybody else.
Oh yeah, Chris Mackey is one of the leaders. Actually, I think he leads right now. He's the president of the Utah JUG, right? So he was great. He's like, I know a JUG leader there. I said, I don't know that guy. And it turns out he was in Oakland, and I'm in, Mountain View. So from a guy from Utah, they're in the same place. But the thing was that he helped me to, I met him at a session, and he introduced me to the guy, Chris Richardson, and so we might do some joint events now. But I didn't even know he was there. And so I'm just saying, as a community, we gotta kind of...
So if I could just add one thing to that. So how many of you remember the old, was it on JavaOne.com? The old JavaOne JUG page years ago? So how many JUGs did it have listed? Yeah, 600. So, but we know most of them never took off. It was like a person, I'm going to pick on a continent, hopefully. Is there anybody here from the continent of Africa? Okay, so we had a JUG in Zimbabwe that had 2 members. Okay, we didn't really believe it was a JUG. It was 2 guys who said they were going to start a JUG, and that's good. We want people like that. However, it got listed and it was formal and all the rest of it. There are probably another, I'm guessing probably another 150 active JUGs in the world, other than what's represented here. And if you know of people, go get them engaged, because we love them.
And I'd just like to, encourage you to take advantage of the LinkedIn group. If you're not on the JUG leaders list and you don't know about the LinkedIn group, there's already about 60 JUG leaders on that already. You can see me because I organize it, and we're not actually publishing how to get on that list, on the JUG leaders list, because that's an open subscription list. And so then, as manager, I'd have to deal with screening people that just want to lurk.
Let's talk about that open subscription. Michael Hooterman, who's the community manager for JUG.
Let's get through some of the questions first.
Oh, anyway, yeah.
That's my
so anyway, if anyone is a JUG leader here and isn't on the LinkedIn and would like to see me before you leave tonight, and we'll get hooked up.
There's another thing I'd like to address, and that's planning. If you look at some evangelists and you would make their year's travel schedule and travel expenses, people fly over from America to Europe, within 1 month. I think we as JUG leaders could do a better job to plan in advance, or say we like to do an event, for example, in August, one evening kind of event. Does anybody know if a speaker is around at the time? And somehow we need to come up with a system where we actually can share speakers. So for example, somebody who speaks in the evening in the Netherlands could just take the train and go to Cologne, or go to Brussels, or go to Hamburg, or take the boat or the plane to London, and not have to fly back and forth between the Atlantic or all the way back to wherever he comes from. So that's something I think we all got to work on. We don't need to build a solution right now, but I think that's a nice discussion to put on the list.
Yeah, the list is the start.
Next week I'll be in Lithuania. Just call me if you're in Lithuania. The week after that I'll be in Thailand. I'll speak.
Will you bring the fancy uniform?
I could.
I'll comment on that. I think the logistics of getting a speaker from far away are difficult enough as it is. I can't imagine how much more it would be to get them to go through this little pattern of cities that could be hundreds of miles apart, or maybe thousands of kilometers apart. But
so if I could,
great, but I don't really easily see a solution to that.
So if I could respond to that for a second. Reggie, will you stand up?
Stood up.
Stand up again.
Stood up again.
Stand your ass up.
Wait to be time.
Yeah, Reggie runs the technology evangelism group for Sun. Many of the speakers that we use to visit the JUGs either come out of his team or he helps deliver to the JUGs. We work through Aaron. Aaron's the guy you want to talk to. Reggie would love if you guys were able to do what Klaus John suggested. Right, so we took a goal last year to send speakers to the top 50 jugs in the world. Forget how we picked the top 50, it was the ones we knew about. Right, so now there's a bigger list. But the fact is that, see, Reggie's already getting connected here. The thing is that we'll send somebody to Europe for a week. If we can keep them busy for a week, we'll send them for a week. If we can keep them busy for 10 days, we'll keep them for 10 days. 2 weeks, we'd probably send them home and send somebody else. But if we could coordinate, if you guys could coordinate that, from a Sun perspective, if you wanted Sun speakers, and I know you don't want Sun speakers all the time, absolutely that would work. So.
That's interesting. Just one requirement, please. Sorry. If I have money, if I have sponsors, I must have a way to ask for speakers in a business way. It's important for me. Sometimes I don't need this free stuff. Sometimes I have the powerful sponsor, but I cannot take the Sun response. This is important for me.
You can't take the Sun.
No. I mean, I want a speaker, but I don't need to be free all the time. I can call and say, okay, send me the powerful speaker. I pay for that. I need that. Thanks.
Okay, excellent. Jug's got money. Yeah.
Lucky you. Not all of them.
Hi, I'm from the San Diego JUG. We have a pretty good JUG, but a lot of our JUG is a lot like JavaOne, where I don't feel so much that I've learned so much as that I have so much to learn. It expands our radar, but we're not really getting deep. And we've been trying really hard, different techniques to get past just introducing technology to people and really getting into like much more concrete nuts and bolts of how to go with Java. And we've had very little success with it. So I just sort of asked to the group large, mentoring, code days. I mean, have you guys found success in this regard? Our best success is, we put Java problems up at the beginning of the JUG for people to solve. We really want something a lot more, where the community is interacting with each other, and coders tend to be solitary. And we're wondering, are there stuff out there that's working, or are we really beating our head against a wall?
Can you hold on 1 second? Shakira just walked into the room. Angela, will you stand up? Hi. Sorry. This is our version of Shakira. This is Angela Caicedo. She's actually one of the speakers that we send around the world. She loves talking to jugs, so you need somebody to talk about. And she's also helping build the robotic demo that you will see James Gosling show on stage. Is it working? Okay, good. So you'll see it on Friday morning. Anyway, so back to the question. Sorry.
That was the question.
The question was about code camps. I know that
to get past just introducing technology, actually getting our members, sitting down and doing real coding with each other.
There's a guy sitting there who was doing something in New York. Maybe you should talk.
Yeah. JUG Island, we do a lot of study groups. So we say we're all going to take the certification at a certain date. So we schedule out and measure progress that way. And certification study groups, workshops, start an open source project. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it.
It really depends on what you want to get out of it. I mean, we even had like just meet at somebody's place, have a bit of wine, and just talk about Java. And we were like 10 people, and that was like one of the most memorable evenings I had. So it doesn't have to be all big and fancy or whatever. Just meeting some other guys who are passionate about the language, that's fine by me as well. It doesn't have to be always the high profile things. So there's different formulas. I mean, workshops, hands-on, just brainstorming, just whiteboards even, like just put whiteboards and people can do like more agile type of things. There are all sorts of, I was hoping JavaOne would have done whiteboards, but there's all sorts of creative things. I mean, you need to get something out of it for yourself as well. And the reason why I started was I just wanted to learn other Java nerds or people who really like the language. And then there's all sorts of formulas how you can set that up.
Or you can start some open source projects, any ideas, you can get people together, take any initiative, any projects you might want to do all together.
Hey guys, we've tried that, and we didn't have a lot of success getting people, traction.
Yeah. Let me help you out here a little bit. I'm Daniel Brookshire. I've run a set of Java groups called Talk Java, Drink Java, And one of the things that we did was we just met at a restaurant every month. It was like this day before, the day after, the main jugs. And we would just meet at that restaurant and talk about anything.
Exactly.
And I did that for about 10 years. I've got another group that did that for about 10 years. And you know, it's just a matter of being consistent, getting the word out, and building. You can't just build it within like a few months. No. Gotta wait a year. Yeah. You just have to be persistent.
Yeah, but there's maybe also another way. As you see on my T-shirt, I was a long time ago a speaker for No Fluff Just Stuff tool, and they actually, Jay Zimmerman started to work with the Java user group and started to take a weekend, make it fairly, maybe cheap, at least for JavaOne standard, and then started to pull people together who gave a presentation, had a lot of tracks. Most of them were very technical, and then get the people at least into certain things in a crash type of environment. And then I stopped with that because of the problem around money. But then later someone came up with the idea of CodeCamp, and actually it started as a Microsoft, or it came from a Microsoft, as far as I know, from a Microsoft group. But still, a year ago, I and other people around Java developer held presentations there about various topics, and I think we have 10 or maybe 15 or 20 presentations. And it was quite successful, but Sun was nowhere to be seen, no speaker from Sun. And then a few months later, it was in San Diego, and I and a few others were the only speakers there about Java. And so I'm wondering, and that's why I put my question on the what's it called, the event Connect. Why now? Why is Sun now going and trying to embrace the community after, I would say, neglecting it for so long a time, and now trying to outreach what they didn't do for a long time, at least from. And the second part of my question, sorry, I want to sit down afterwards, is LA, at least in LA, I drive 1.5 hours one way to go to the LA JUG and then go back. So the traffic in LA is bad. So that's why we only have a few people coming. And so, at least in LA, it's not possible to reach a lot of people with having a monthly meeting. So there must be another way to get people together and shorten and get them as much back for the bang in a short time. Yes, sir?
Maybe you can do it in the weekends. I mean, we've done events in the weekend, like at the university, and really the diehards, they really come. I mean, they really attend. It's just
yeah, that's what the Java, or the so-called CodeCamp had the idea for, but you need enough people to get other people attracted, because if you only have a few people, then people say, okay, I don't take the drive, because half the session is not my thing. So I think, and I don't know about the so-called CodeCamp anymore, because they have personal issues, I think, around that. But still, I would love the idea to get something like that going again.
So just a couple of things. One is, and I'm not going to get defensive with Microsoft. So we've been running code camps for 5 years. They stole the name from us. We actually know that. Reggie and I have actually talked to the Microsoft guys. It frustrates us to no end that they can market better than us. Reggie and his team actually came up with the concept of code camps years ago. Now we used to run them separately. We ran them in the Bay Area, never ran one in LA, that's why you never saw it. But we actually have the ability to run these things at JUGs. If you guys committed a 2-hour session to go in depth, we've got people like Angela and Sang and the rest of these guys. How many of you have seen Sang Shin's Programming with Passion? 35,000 Java EE programmers worldwide have gone through that on the web. He's got a pretty big reach, right? Coming and doing that kind of thing, 2 hours in depth at your JUG, something we can do. One of the challenges we have is doing it for 5 people, right? Flying somebody from Menlo Park to LA For 5 people is tough. Doing it for 50 suddenly looks like a good deal. Doing it for 100 is a great deal, right? Hold on a second. What? Depends where. Where are we talking?
Dallas.
Probably okay. I mean, we've flown people to Dallas for less than that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but with regards to why now, I'm going to give you a really simple reason. We didn't own it. Okay. The group that owns the JUG relationship today is the developer group. The group, the number of people inside Sun that worked with JUGs before was not the developer team. I'm not going to go through who they were. It was kind of long and sordid history. My job is to care about developers. My job is to enable all of you to go out and get more members, or strengthen your membership, or do more with the JUGs, whatever your goals are. And people like myself, Nicole, Aaron, Reggie, Shakira, sorry, Angela, that's our job. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, there are success stories in this crowd. I don't need you to all stand up and say who you are, but we've worked really closely with a number of the JUGs to help the development, and we want to do more of that. And I'll be honest with you, LA's tough, right? LA, I readily admit, we've failed in Southern California. We should be doing more. So.
Okay, another question.
Yeah, actually, this is a couple comments about finding speakers. Someone already mentioned the No Fluff Just Stuff tour. They actually give my group 4 speakers a year and 2 free attendances to give away to the membership. I'm a speaker for them. I know Burr is as well. And they are a great community to get your JUG hooked up with, to provide speakers. You know, if there's any real substance to your market, Jay would be very interested in that. Second of all, I'd like to talk about that idea where someone said, I'm in Thailand, you know, contact me if you're in Thailand. Turn that around on its head. I spend 2 weeks every year on business in London. If I could easily get a hold of a group there, I'd let them know, hey, I'm in town.
I'm here.
Okay. Sure. And my wife's from Philadelphia. If I knew where the Philadelphia group was, if I could easily get in touch with him, I'd say, hey, I'm in Philadelphia.
If we had all the JUGs on LinkedIn, and you could just do a simple search on LinkedIn by country and see everybody in that country.
Right, so rather than me publishing my schedule to 1,000 people and having them figure out when I'm available, if I could find those 1,000 people and just figure it out for myself, I think that would be an easier model to scale.
So please use the mailing list as well. Yes. Make for now. And who is not yet linked on LinkedIn?
Who's not linked?
So try to get in there, and at least we can then share coordinates and whatever. It's just one mail.
One more comment on that same thread would be do like joint meetings with other user groups in your area. We recently did a joint membership or a joint meeting with the Ruby group. We've done joint meetings with our Linux user group. There's other user groups with other potential speakers on the same kinds of topics that you might know. It's a great source of speakers.
Just one, I don't know if this is a question or a comment, but you mentioned that it's possible for the guys in St. Petersburg to get you guys up there because you have a center close there. Well, Helsinki is also interested, so we're pretty close there. So if there are any code caps or anything.
So Toto, where's Toto? I saw him somewhere. So we support him. We love his conference, right? If you want to do something around his conference, you'll have a whole host of us. By the way, I'm just enamored with all the trolls that I saw in Norway. It was really cool, man. Everybody's got their own troll. So anyway, if you don't know what I mean, you need to go to Norway to take a look. But the fact is, if you do something around his conference, we brought, Reggie, 5 people to Norway. How many people? 4 people? 3 people? Something like that. So we'll have people. The other thing is, we have some evangelists in Europe now. They are available. Okay, so getting connected with Aaron, we can make some of these things happen.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. Chuggy.
Actually, Jug is not speaking right now. Okay, I just would like to make a comment. It's Bruno Souza from Sou Java in Brazil. I think there's a couple of comments here about, someone said, why Sun is doing this now, and then someone also talked about organization and how hard it is to organize. Speakers should go to several cities. I think that the whole answer for all of those things is organization, right? So, the Java groups are getting more organized, and because we're getting more organized, that means we're more interested. Vendors are going to be more interested in what we do, right? And so, just want to share you and Felipe Gaúcho is here because he was part of that. You know, Danielle is right here too, and he was kind of part of that too. I'm not sure if there's anyone from Brazil, but we just had a large event that was done by in 20 cities at the same day with 18 Java user groups involved. And we had 15 speakers. Half of those were from Sun, right? Going to all of those cities at the same day, doing this very large event. They had, you know, like 4,000 people registered to it. And so it's tough. It takes a whole lot of organization, right? It takes a whole lot of talking between the user groups. It takes a whole lot of, you know, several meetings and all discussion and everything, but it's doable. But when you do this, then, you know, Sun sent a whole lot of people there to do this, right? Because it makes sense, right? It's like Matt said, it's very hard for you to convince anyone. It's just send a speaker to a place that's not organized, right? It doesn't matter how many people there's. You know, it could be like 300 people, but if it's not done on time, if they don't receive information in advance, right? If they don't know exactly what's happening, it is hard. So the more we get organized, the easier it is for us to convince companies to support what we're doing. And I think that's the whole thing we're doing on the mailing list, on the Java groups community, everything. It's important. But I agree with, I think it was Paris that said that, you know, we gotta participate, we gotta be there, we gotta discuss, we gotta talk. Because if you don't do, then, you know, when looking for the outside, we're just like this bunch of crazy guys walking around with a puppet and a crazy outfit, right? And we all know that we are not this, right? We can do better. We can organize ourselves to do a lot better.
Okay. We got about 5 minutes. So
I've got a question related with Mosses, because I'm a single JUG leader. I tend to do a lot of the work myself, and I was kind of hoping for an idea of how to get other people to volunteer to do some of the work. I'm doing far too much work, as you probably can see. Writing a blog, organising meetings. I'm just, perhaps Stefan, perhaps you can suggest things to.
I mean, it's like how I started was really inviting friends and colleagues and just, you know, convincing them to jump on board. And like now with our user group, we have about 10 people, and these are really close friends of mine. I mean, they come, you know, if I organize something personally, I even invite them. So, and that's with that small team, we can win battles. And that's something you need to organically grow.
The second question is has anybody merged, any JUG groups actually merged? Because we have about 3. We have the JSIG in London, and of course the Java Web user group which I run, and there's an enterprise Java user group, the eJUG. But has anyone had the experience of?
Yeah, I can answer that. Yeah, we have, so Java did merge with 4 other Java user groups down in Brazil. And it had been a very wide ride for many reasons. So it was very good, and a lot of, you know, we got existing JUGs from 4 other cities. There were JUGs that we have been working together for many years. So there were JUGs that we have been doing events together. You know, we did remote and simultaneous events with those with them before now and everything. We decided to merge because Java became a you know, non-profit organization, you know, that could kind of, you know, exist as an organization. So the other groups could you know, get the benefit of that too. And, you know, a lot of things was good. You know, we had a lot more activities being done by Java because of that. On the other part is organizing this and making this work, because we're in different cities, you know, made the whole organization of the user group a lot harder. Right, because now we have directors from Java in different cities, and that means it's harder for us to talk, it's harder for us to meet. It's you know, it's on the day-to-day activities that are harder to do. But yes, it is doable, and we did this in 5 JUGs at the same time. Actually, it was 5. You know, all 5 of us joined together at the same time, so it's doable. Yes. Now the problem is that you know, a lot of times, especially when you have in the same city more than one group, is because the Java group leaders have different opinions, different views, and you know, if you have to work with all of you all know, right? We all are very strong-minded guys. That's why we do what we do, right? So you know, if you have some difference between with the other guys, right, it's not going to work, right? Because you're just going to keep doing different things. But I know that, you know, Franz has the same issue because there's another user group on his area, and I think that it's doable. But if you don't have to, right, you can coexist several groups in the same place at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's if you have different interests. So if one is into ME and the other's into Java EE, then of course you have different agendas.
Yeah, not only that, also the characters, personalities.
Well, in Dallas, we have like 8 Java user groups. So we have EE, we have some P2P, we have the main Java group, we have a Fort Worth Java group. You know, we have lots of Java groups. They all coexist, they all use the same list for announcements. And we live quite well with that because the main group has lots of different types of things. The other groups concentrate on single thing. So we're, you know, we're all merged by that list. And that's the main thing that makes us all kind of coexist because we each have separate meetings, separate topics, and we attract a lot of people. Another thing I want to say is on getting people into your user group to present. I ran a group for, like I said, about 10 years. And of course, every 4 months I presented because I couldn't find somebody. But the way I found people for my group was I looked for the people who asked the most interesting questions, and I walked up to them and I said, would you like to present? It's as easy as that.
Okay, I think we're running out of time, so I don't know.
We got enough time for at least one more.
All right, just one more. Just a quick suggestion to help speakers to locate the Java user groups. What we could do, we could put a Google map with all the JUGs around the world with contacts, so that if speakers travel across the globe, they can find the JUGs easily. I think this is very simple to do, and we should do that.
So I've actually already goaled Aaron on doing a Google map with each of the JUG locations. Adding your contact information would just mean we'd want to put it behind something so it wasn't exposed to the outside world completely. So we could put it within the community, the JUG community or something like that. So absolutely, we should be able to do something like that.
We already started one a few years ago, but we never really completed it. So already it exists, something exists already.
Yeah, there is a map, but it's not working anymore.
Yeah.
So you just have to put it on Whirlwind.
Whirlwind and Java effects.
Yeah, nice job.
I think there's more
There's
options
enough
now
brain power in the room to do it.
So we just need to revise it or just reactivate it.
Okay, so I had one more thing in closing, and I'm going to say this sincerely. I said this to JavaPolis as well, and some people challenged me, right? They were like, I'm not sure I believe you, and we followed through, and I think they kind of believe us now. Some of that included donating equipment to JUGs. So, you know, one of the things I'll say right now is I can't promise that every one of you that comes forward and says, hey, we host our own site, we could use a box to host it on. Will you give me one? The answer I'm going to give you is the eventually yes. I can't do them all now, but the commitment I made at JavaPolis is if you're hosting your own site, meaning you're not going after an ISP and just using their equipment, we want you to run on Sun. We've done this for a number of the JUGs already. There are a number of JUGs that are now Sun powered, right? So if that's something, yeah, exactly. So if that's something you're interested, talk to Aaron. It might take us 6 months to get there just because we're working through the backlog. But that's the kind of commitment we want to make. The other thing is, as I said before, you know, I don't want to talk about what's happened in the past with the JUGs because I didn't have an opportunity to work on it. But the developer team's looking after this. This is actually written into our top level goals for next year. So I am financially incented to make sure you guys are happy. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, I'm laying right there. So guys, we gotta wrap it up, and I don't know if you guys, we gotta get out of the hall because
get the picture done.
So we can do the pictures, but I think we need to. I might have to do it outside.
Sure. The main stairs.
The main stairs?
Yeah, let's do the picture on the right by the big screen.
Very good. And thanks to the crew in the back.
It's a wrap.
Yeah, you finished it.